I want you to picture a master.
Okay.
And I don't mean someone who's just, good at their job. I mean a true virtuoso.
Like a prodigy kind of thing.
Yeah, exactly. Someone who has spent 50 years, half a century, just honing a single craft.
Wow.
Right. They've reached a level where they're dealing with critical care recovery, healing terminal illnesses, using energy work, and they have a 90% success rate.
That's insane.
It is. By every definition, this person is a guru, the absolute pinnacle of human capability.
Okay, I have the image in my head.
Mm-hmm.
And usually, it's the person sitting on a mountaintop, totally inaccessible, just dispensing cryptic wisdom to whoever climbs up to see them.
Right, they finished the race.
Exactly. They won.
But now, imagine asking that exact person what they did yesterday.
Okay.
And instead of telling you they were, levitating in silence or basking in their own greatness, they tell you, quote, "Oh, I was taking an entry-level seminar on social media algorithms."
It creates this immediate cognitive dissonance.
Oh, totally.
Because we are so conditioned to think of mastery as a destination.
Yeah.
You climb the mountain, you plant the flag, you sit down, and you just enjoy the view.
You definitely don't go back down to base camp.
Right. You don't go back down to learn how to tie your shoelaces again. It just doesn't compute.
But that is exactly what we are unpacking in this deep dive today. We are looking at the mind, the methodology, and honestly, the relentless efficiency of a source known as the blind Muslim Yogi.
Yeah.
And before you make any assumptions based on that name, let me stop you right there.
Okay.
Because this isn't just a story about spirituality or yoga poses.
No, definitely not. Looking at the source material, this reads much more like a manifesto on survival.
Exactly.
It's about high performance in the modern age.
It really is.
Yeah.
It's an absolute masterclass in what he calls sharpening the sword. And the context here is super critical for you listening. The source material we're analyzing was recorded in 2026.
Right.
The world he's describing is fast, it's incredibly crowded, and it is absolutely unforgiving if you fall behind.
And that context is really the key to the whole discussion today.
Yeah.
We're looking at a global population of 8.44 billion people.
Yeah.
Artificial intelligence isn't just a buzzword anymore. In 2026, it is dominating the workforce. And this yogi, despite his decades of spiritual practice and, undeniable mastery, he argues that the learner's mindset isn't just a nice-to-have feature for personal growth.
No, it's mandatory.
Exactly. It is the only way to avoid becoming completely obsolete.
So we have this stack of notes, transcripts, and insights from the yogi. And honestly, some of the metrics regarding his efficiency are just startling.
Yeah, they really are.
But let's start with that core paradox we mentioned. Why is a man with nearly 5 decades of experience still acting like a beginner?
I think it really comes down to his definition of struggle.
Yep.
I found this to be one of the most profound insights in the text, honestly.
Oh, I highlighted that part too.
Right. He says, and I'm quoting here, struggle does not mean the whole world is against you.
Which is usually the default human reaction.
Of course it is.
When things get hard, we feel targeted. We think the universe is just conspiring to ruin our Tuesday.
Right. We take it personally.
Yeah.
But he reframes it completely. He says, struggle just means there is something you don't know that could get you out of that situation.
That is such a huge shift.
It is. It's not an external oppressor. It's an internal knowledge gap.
That's a heavy mindset shift.
Right.
It turns a crisis into basically a research project. Like, if I'm struggling, I'm not a victim. I'm just uninformed.
Precisely. And that philosophy absolutely drives his behavior. He mentions that he's been teaching yoga and meditation for 46 years.
46 years.
And he's been practicing for nearly 50. And yet he explicitly states that he found out something new just yesterday.
It's wild.
It treats the learning process as infinite.
Well, I want to drill down into what that newness actually looks like practically, because he drops a statistic here that made me stop and actually reread the source material to make sure I hadn't added a decimal place by mistake.
Oh, you're talking about the efficiency audit.
Yes, because we talk about productivity a lot, but this is next level. He talks about his energy healing work. And remember, this is the guy dealing with critical care recovery. High-stakes stuff.
Right. This isn't recreational wellness. This is about function and recovery in literally life or death situations.
So He notes that 3 years ago, a specific healing task took him about 4.5 hours to complete.
Wow.
4.5 hours of intense, concentrated focus.
Which, for a single task, is a massive amount of labor. That's half a workday spent on one single thing.
Right. So fast forward to about a month ago from the recording date. He's been sharpening the sword, working on his own internal energy levels, refining his technique. He performs that exact same task. How long do you think it took?
I know the number, but it still shocks me every time I see it.
4 minutes.
From 4.5 hours down to 4 minutes.
I tried to calculate the percentage increase in efficiency there, and my calculator just gave up.
It's exponential.
It's almost unbelievable.
And that is the so what for you listening here. That is exactly why you keep learning, even when you are a master. He says he doesn't need to improve. He's already at a master level. He can already heal the illnesses.
Right.
But he chooses to improve because that efficiency buys him his life back.
It really challenges that corporate idea of good enough. I think most of us, if we got a 4-hour task down to 1 hour, we'd pop the champagne, ask for a raise, and just coast for the rest of the decade.
Oh, absolutely.
We'd say, I've mastered this.
And that is exactly where the danger lies, especially in the economic landscape he is describing. If we pivot to the business side of his brain, and he has a very sharp business brain, he paints a pretty stark picture of the economy in 2026.
Yeah, let's get into that. Because you might expect a yogi to say, detach from the world, money's an illusion, go live in a cave.
Right, the stereotype.
Exactly. But he is surprisingly practical. He has been studying social media strategies since 2009.
He treats it with the exact same discipline as his spiritual practice. He notes that the YouTube algorithms and strategies that worked in 2025 are already different in 2026.
Yeah.
He's tracking these changes in real time. And this is where that 8.44 billion people figure becomes kind of scary.
It's crowded.
It is incredibly crowded.
Yeah.
He mentions there are 1 billion posts uploaded to social media every single day. 1 billion pieces of content fighting for attention.
So the implication is that if you are just average, you are basically mathematically invisible.
He actually goes further than that. He argues there is no middle path anymore.
Wow.
And this is a crucial concept in his 2026 worldview. Because of AI taking over standard, repetitive work and just the sheer volume of global competition, the bell curve is breaking.
It's flattening out.
Yes, you are either a total failure or you are very successful. The middle class of effort, just showing up and doing a decent job, is evaporating in the digital economy he sees.
That's terrifying, but also really clarifying. It explains why he's attending the Social Media Examiner Summit. It explains why he's listening to niche podcasts about B2B marketing.
Right. He mentions Michelle J. Raymond specifically regarding LinkedIn strategies. He's not just listening to generic business motivation. He's learning the actual tactical mechanics of the platform.
He's not dabbling. He's trying to find an edge because he believes you have to be the best of the best just to survive.
It's a survival mechanism. He explicitly says, you are nothing in 8.44 billion if you don't find that edge.
Harsh.
It sounds harsh, almost ruthless for a spiritual teacher, but it's a wake-up call. If a blind master yogi isn't resting on his laurels, why do we think we can?
But I want to make sure we don't discourage the listener here, because when you hear be the best or fail or no middle path, it sounds like you need to win the lottery tomorrow or you're just doomed.
Right.
But the yogi's own life story completely debunks the overnight success myth.
Oh, absolutely. This is the antidote to the anxiety he just created. He lists his timelines for mastery, and they are patient, to say the least. They are geological.
They are grueling. He mentions one goal took him 11 years.
Yeah.
Another took 6. A really big one took 17 years.
And the big one, mastering Kundalini energy, took 40 years.
Well, let's just pause on that. 40 years.
It's hard to even fathom.
Imagine working on a single project, a single skill set, for 40 years before you feel like you've really nailed it. Most people quit after 40 days if they don't see abs.
Seriously.
Yeah.
And for those who might not know, Kundalini in this context refers to a specific type of primal energy located at the base of the spine. In the yogic tradition, awakening and controlling this is considered one of the most difficult and dangerous spiritual feats.
It's intense.
Very. It requires immense physical and mental discipline. It is not something you just do in a weekend retreat.
So 40 years of discipline. This is what fascinated me about his psychology. He has this phrase, either I'm going to achieve it or die trying.
That's intense.
It is. But looking at his results, it seems like a necessary intensity.
It's actually quite liberating if you think about it.
Yeah.
He views failure simply as, I haven't found the right way yet. It's not a judgment on his self-worth. It's just data.
It's just feedback.
Exactly. He says even 2025 was one of his most challenging years. But he made progress he was proud of. It wasn't a big bang success. It was just better than the year before.
I love that. Better than the year before. It makes the whole no middle path economy feel a little more manageable. You don't have to beat the 8 billion people today. You just have to beat who you were last year.
Precisely. It shifts the competition from external to internal.
Okay.
But the question remains, how do you actually do that? How do you ensure you are actually better than you were last year?
Because we all want to be better, but usually we just get older.
Exactly. And this brings us to what I think is the most actionable, tactical part of his philosophy. The rule of 5.
Oh, I know this one. You are the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. It's a classic self-help trope. Jim Rohn, right?
It is, but the yogi gives it a very specific modern update. First, he validates the original premise with a financial reality check. He suggests an empirical method. Calculate the average income of the 5 people you talk to most often. He bets that your income is almost exactly that average.
Which is a sobering exercise for a lot of people, I'm sure. If your 5 best friends are all broke, statistically, you probably are too.
Right. If you want to be a millionaire, but everyone you talk to is struggling to make ends meet and complaining about the economy, the math is against you. The conversation loop you are in just reinforces your current reality.
That makes sense.
But, and here's the 2026 twist, he says, you don't need to physically know billionaires to have them in your circle.
This is the digital rule of 5.
Exactly. We are in the modern age. Your company, the people you associate with, includes the voices coming out of your phone while you're driving or working out or doing the dishes.
I love this concept of a digital board of directors. You can actually curate the voices that shape your brain. And the yogi lists his specific lineup, which is such an eclectic mix. It's not just one genre.
It really shows how he synthesizes information.
Yeah.
It's like a balanced diet for the brain. Who's on his list again?
Okay, so let's break this down because I think this recipe is important. First up, his primary mentor is Tony Robbins.
Yeah.
He mentions he's paid for the courses, the masterminds, everything. He treats Tony Robbins like a guru.
Which totally makes sense for the high-energy state change aspect of what he does. Tony Robbins is all about physiology and peak performance, which aligns perfectly with the yogi's energy work. It's about not letting the body dictate the mind.
Right. Then he has Vishen Lakhiani from Mind Valley for personal development.
That's interesting because Vishen is very systems-oriented. He talks about bending reality and hacking consciousness. So you have the raw energy of Robbins and the structured systems of Lakhiani.
Then he pivots to hard science. Andrew Huberman.
The neuroscientist.
Right. He's listening to Huberman for neurology, ophthalmology, brain function.
See, that is key. He's a spiritual healer, but he's grounding his understanding in the mechanics of the body and brain.
Yeah.
He's not ignoring science. He is devouring it. He wants to know how the hardware works, not just the software.
Then, for the broader perspective, he's got Joe Rogan and Stephen Bartlett. He specifically mentions he likes them because they interview other successful leaders. It's like getting a secondary network of high achievers.
It's super efficient. You listen to one interview and you download the best ideas from a tech mogul or a scientist in 3 hours. It expands the rule of 5 into a rule of 500 indirectly.
And finally, for that kick in the pants, Mel Robbins and Lewis Howes for greatness and life coaching.
Notice what he's doing there. He has built a synthetic circle of influence. He might be sitting alone in a room, unable to see the physical world, but intellectually, he is hanging out with neuroscientists, business moguls, and master motivators.
And his argument is that if you listen to one small thing from these people every day, over a year, you create a substantive significant difference.
It goes back to the compounding interest of knowledge. If you learn one tactic about B2B marketing from a podcast today and one insight about brain health tomorrow, in 365 days, you are a completely different person than the one who just listened to static or doom scrolled through the news.
It's agency. I think that's the word. He talks about how we have 8.44 billion people and AI taking our jobs, which sounds like we have zero control.
Yeah, very fatalistic.
But then he flips it and says, but you can choose who lives in your head.
That is the ultimate control. And for him, the result is tangible. He talks about how, because of this constant input, he's able to set goals and actually achieve them. He doesn't see limits because the people he listens to don't see limits.
Contagious mindset.
Exactly. If you listen to Elon Musk or Tony Robbins all day, your baseline for what is possible shifts upward.
It's funny, when we started this deep dive, I expected to talk about meditation techniques or specific yoga poses, but the biggest takeaway for me is this aggressive, relentless pursuit of information.
Yeah?
It's not Zen in the passive sense. It's highly active.
It's active peace. He has peace because he has competence. He knows that whatever problem arises, whether it's a health crisis or a YouTube algorithm change, he can learn the solution.
Right.
That completely removes the fear. Remember what he said. Struggle is just a lack of knowledge. If you fill the gap, the struggle ends.
It's a powerful equation. Knowledge equals the end of suffering.
In his worldview, yes.
Yeah.
And I think that's why he emphasizes that you have to sharpen the sword every single day. The sword is your mind. The sword is your skill set. If you let it get dull, the world will overwhelm you.
Yeah.
But if you keep it sharp, you can cut through the noise.
So what does this all mean for us, for the listener who maybe isn't an energy healer, but is just trying to navigate their own version of 2026?
I think it means we need to deeply audit our inputs. We spend so much time auditing our finances or our calories, we track our steps.
Oh, yeah, constantly.
But we rarely audit our information diet. The yogi is telling us that in a hyper-competitive world, your input determines your output. If you are consuming junk, complaining, fear-mongering, mindless distraction, you're going to produce junk.
Garbage in, garbage out.
Exactly. And in an economy with no middle path, you simply can't afford to produce junk
You have to sharpen the sword.
every single day.
Yeah.
And it doesn't have to be huge. It's the 4 minutes versus 4 hours. It's the one small thing learned on the drive to work.
I really appreciate his honesty about the timeline, though. The fact that he admits he's been at this for 50 years and he's still doing it, it kind of gives you permission to be a work in progress.
Absolutely. If a master is still a student, then we certainly have no excuse to stop learning. It democratizes success. It's not about natural talent. It's about the willingness to remain a beginner.
So here is a challenge for you listening right now. And this comes directly from the yogi's philosophy on your company and that digital board of directors we just talked about.
I like this. Some practical application.
Take a look at your phone right now if you can. Look at your history, YouTube, podcasts, TikTok, whatever platform you use. Look at the last 24 hours of content you consumed.
Okay.
If you took the creators of that content and you sat them around a dinner table and you averaged their success, their happiness, and their income, what does that predict for your future?
Man, that is a confronting question.
Are you sitting at a table with experts, scientists, and optimists? Or are you sitting at a table with people who are just complaining, gossiping, or distracting you?
Because like it or not, that table is your future. That averages your trajectory. You are building your future self one video at a time.
The blind Muslim yogi has made his choice. He's sitting with Tony Robbins and Andrew Huberman. Who are you sitting with?
It might be time to curate your board of directors.
Go sharpen that sword. Thanks for listening to this deep dive. We'll catch you on the next one.